3 years into the brutal Transnistria War in Moldova, American forces join the fight. During a deadly operation, U.S. soldier Davis becomes separated from his squad. Instead of waiting for backup, he decides to search a nearby building by himself. Using his advanced hyperspectral goggles, he discovers several frozen-looking bodies hidden in the darkness. As he moves deeper inside, he suddenly spots a ghostly humanoid figure that completely disappears whenever he takes off the goggles. Everything he sees is being streamed back to the military base, but before Davis can report what he's found, the mysterious entity passes straight through him, killing him instantly. Back in the United States, Dr. Mark Klein, a scientist working for DARPA, finally completes his newest invention, a machine capable of shattering solid objects using powerful energy waves. During a demonstration for top government officials, they're immediately impressed and order him to begin testing it for military use. Mark isn't comfortable turning his research into a weapon, but his supervisor reminds him that government projects don't always leave room for personal opinions. Not long after, the U.S. Army orders Mark to travel to Moldova because they're having serious problems involving the hyperspectral goggles he originally designed. When he arrives at the American base in Chisinau, he meets General Orland and CIA agent Fran Madison. They show him the final recording captured by Davis's goggles just before his death. As Mark carefully studies the footage, he notices a strange visual distortion moments before the ghost-like figure appears. General Orland explains that their surveillance equipment has detected similar disturbances many times over the past 3 weeks. At first, they assumed it was just technical interference, but after losing one of their best soldiers, they know they're dealing with something far more dangerous. Wanting more evidence before making conclusions, Mark reveals that he brought a hyperspectral camera, an upgraded version of the goggles that can see even deeper into the light spectrum. General Orland agrees to send Mark into the field with a Delta Force team searching for another squad that disappeared the previous day. While Mark installs the powerful camera onto one of the military trucks, several soldiers joke about the scientist messing with their equipment. Captain Cabrera quickly shuts them down, reminding everyone that Mark's team actually designed many of the technologies they're relying on. Major Sessions, however, isn't thrilled about bringing a civilian into a combat zone and makes Mark promise that this time, his inventions will actually keep the soldiers alive. Before leaving, the team receives its mission briefing. The missing squad was last seen inside a 5-story apartment building located in enemy-controlled territory. Their main objective is to rescue any survivors and evacuate safely. The operation begins smoothly, and the team reaches the apartment building without any resistance. The first few rooms are completely empty, but as they move farther inside, they discover the bodies of both American soldiers and enemy fighters. Every single one of them died under the same horrifying conditions. Suddenly, Captain Cabrera detects movement on the sensors. The soldiers carefully approach an overturned bathtub and lift it aside, revealing Sergeant Comstock hiding underneath. Terrified, Comstock tells them his entire squad is dead and warns them about something he witnessed inside the building. According to him, whatever killed his teammates wasn't human, it was something supernatural. The team cautiously continues to the next floor, where they finally come face to face with one of the ghostly entities. One soldier immediately opens fire, landing every shot, but the bullets pass harmlessly through the figure. Without slowing down, the Spectre walks straight through the soldier, killing him instantly. Chaos erupts as the creature attacks the rest of the team. They keep firing, but nothing has any effect, and one soldier after another is slaughtered. The survivors carry their wounded comrades and climb out through a window using ropes, but the Spectre follows them outside and continues its relentless attack. As the creature approaches, Mark uses the hyperspectral camera to capture as much footage as possible. The clearer image reveals something shocking: the Spectre doesn't just resemble a human. Determined to buy his team more time, Captain Cabrera steps forward and fires at the creature himself, but his bullets are just as useless. Seconds later, the Spectre kills him as well. His sacrifice gives the remaining survivors enough time to escape in the truck. As they speed away, Mark asks Sergeant Comstock what exactly he saw inside the building. Comstock explains that he hid beneath the bathtub for hours after witnessing the horrifying creature. Just as he's about to reveal more, the truck suddenly begins shaking violently before crashing into the ground. As it explodes and crashes, Sergeant Comstock slams his head and dies instantly, along with the drivers. With no time to mourn, Mark grabs the hyperspectral camera, their most valuable piece of equipment. The surviving soldiers rush into an abandoned factory for shelter while trying to contact the base, but their radios barely work. As they process everything they've witnessed, the team finally accepts the terrifying truth. Whatever attacked them wasn't advanced military technology, it was something far beyond human understanding. Mark explains that the creature had a human-like form and even seemed aware of his presence, but he still has no idea what it actually is. The crash destroyed everyone's hyperspectral goggles, leaving Mark's camera as their only way to see the invisible creatures. When they scan outside the factory, they're shocked to discover dozens of specters surrounding the building. Strangely, none of them can cross onto the property. Mark soon realizes that a ring of iron filings has been spread around the factory, and every time a specter touches it, it recoils in pain. Someone intentionally created the barrier to keep the creatures out. Just then, a loud noise echoes from another room. The soldiers blast the locked door open, only to discover they nearly scared two innocent children, a brother and sister named Sari and Bogdan. Neither child speaks English, but Fran is able to translate. The siblings explain they've been hiding there alone. Inside the same room, the team also discovers a powerful transmission tower. It can broadcast their message across a 20-mile radius, but it will also alert enemy forces to their location. Despite the risk, Major Sessions points out it's their only chance to call for help. While the soldiers try contacting the base, Mark questions the children through Fran. Sari reveals that it was her father who spread the iron barrier around the factory. She believes the specters are trapped souls, caught between life and death, unable to move on. Wanting answers, Mark asks where her father is. Sari leads Mark and Fran to another part of the factory, leaving Bogdan behind with the soldiers. Along the way, she finally reveals the heartbreaking truth. Her father died while creating the protective barrier, and she secretly dragged his body back inside. She never told Bogdan because she wanted him to believe their father had gone to find help. A short time later, the team finally receives a message from the base. Rescue helicopters and tanks will arrive at sunrise in an open plaza about half a mile away. The soldiers immediately worry about crossing such an exposed area with almost no cover. Thinking quickly, Mark comes up with a new plan. Since the factory contains plenty of iron filings, they can pack them into homemade grenades and bullets capable of harming the specters. He also upgrades the hyperspectral camera into a powerful searchlight that reveals the invisible creatures to the naked eye. Mark sends the design back to headquarters so the rescue team can build similar searchlights before heading into the city. Before they can leave, strange noises come from outside. Using the new searchlight, they discover the specters have climbed onto nearby rooftops and are traveling across power lines to bypass the iron barrier without touching it. Realizing they can no longer stay, the team quickly escapes through a hidden back exit that Sari shows them. The specters immediately give chase, but now the creatures are visible under the searchlight. The soldiers fire their newly modified iron-filled ammunition, and for the first time, the bullets actually enter the specters. The recoil from the powerful rounds even knocks some soldiers backward, but the plan works. To slow the creatures down, the soldiers fire extra rounds into the air, creating a cloud of iron dust that temporarily blocks the specter's path. Taking advantage of the delay, the group follows Sari's directions and reaches the evacuation plaza. They hide inside an abandoned bus while waiting for rescue. As they wait, Mark notices the searchlight is running out of power. Once it dies, they'll have no way to see another attack coming. Suddenly, they hear heavy engines approaching. Thankfully, it's the rescue convoy, and the tanks have brought their own hyperspectral searchlights. The moment the searchlights switch on, they expose dozens of specters hiding on rooftops and inside nearby buildings. The tanks immediately unleash a barrage of fire. Forced to flee the collapsing buildings, Mark's team jumps out of the bus and takes cover from the falling debris. Believing they're fighting ordinary enemies, the reinforcements charge forward with standard weapons, and are slaughtered almost instantly. The Spectres don't stop with the soldiers. They also attack the tanks, destroying the powerful searchlights that were keeping everyone safe. The team realizes Bogdan is missing. The young boy has run back to retrieve his father's necklace after accidentally dropping it. Sari desperately chases after him, but she's too late. A Spectre passes straight through Bogdan, killing him instantly. Mark checks for a pulse, but there's nothing he can do. Just when all hope seems lost, the rescue helicopters finally arrive overhead. Once they're safely in the air, the survivors realize they're not returning to the military base. The base has already been overrun, so the pilots are taking them to a secure refugee bunker instead. When the helicopters reach the bunker, armed guards immediately surround them with weapons raised. Fran quickly identifies the group, and they're finally allowed inside. While the soldiers secure every corner of the bunker, Mark and Fran escort the injured Sari to a doctor after shrapnel lodged in her shoulder during the escape. Hoping to comfort her, Mark reveals that he managed to recover her father's necklace from Bogdan and gently places it back into her hands. Mark continues asking Sari about her father and everything he knew about the mysterious Spectres. Unfortunately, she doesn't know much. General Orland arrives with the few survivors who managed to escape the military base. They bring whatever equipment they could save, but the news isn't good. Orland explains that invisible creatures overwhelmed the base, leaving only 19 survivors. They fled so quickly that they never had the chance to contact higher command. With no reinforcements on the way, their only option is to fortify the bunker and hope they can survive. The grim situation quickly sparks an argument. Some soldiers want to fight back immediately, while others believe any counterattack would be suicide. As the debate grows louder, Mark suddenly interrupts everyone. After connecting all the clues, he finally realizes what the Spectres truly are. Sergeant Comstock survived for hours because he hid beneath a ceramic bathtub. The Spectres also couldn't pass through the ceramic armor built into the tanks. Combined with their weakness to iron, their freezing temperatures, and their ability to pass through walls, Mark concludes that these creatures are actually made from a rare state of matter known as a Bose-Einstein condensate, a phenomenon first predicted by Satyendra Nath Bose and Albert Einstein. He proposes building as many of the devices as possible using the equipment salvaged from the base along with every usable electronic component inside the bunker. Everyone immediately gets to work. Soldiers search every room for spare parts while Mark assembles the new weapons one after another. Using maps of the city and information gathered by Fran from local survivors, the team plans the safest route to the Mazarov power plant. After General Orland delivers an inspiring speech, the rescue mission finally begins. When the helicopters reach the power plant, the robotic Rottweiler lights up the landing platform, exposing the approaching Spectres. The first squad immediately tests Mark's new weapons, and this time they work perfectly. The Spectres are completely destroyed. Once the area is secure, the remaining squads land and spread across the different platforms, holding off wave after wave of enemies. The moment they enter the building, Spectres attack again. Realizing time is running out, the group splits up. They step inside the main research lab and discover every scientist is dead. Looking around, they find X-rays showing that human bodies were scanned at the molecular level before being copied into condensate form using an advanced 3D printing system. The entire facility was designed to manufacture living energy weapons. As they search deeper inside the laboratory, Mark and Fran discover dozens of Spectres trapped inside containment cells. Nearby, they find an emergency shutdown system capable of disabling the whole operation. Mark rips away the final cables and pulls the release bracket. Moments later, every Spectre begins breaking apart. As they dissolve into nothing, the soldiers notice the painful expressions on the creatures' transparent faces, suggesting they may have been suffering all along. After recovering, they hear strange sounds coming from a hidden room beneath the laboratory. Inside, they make one final horrifying discovery. The scientists hadn't simply copied human bodies, they had removed the brains and nervous systems of real people, keeping them alive inside glass capsules to control the Spectres remotely. The victims aren't truly alive anymore, yet they still appear conscious and in constant agony. Unable to watch them suffer any longer, Mark begins disconnecting the life support systems one by one, giving the trapped victims a peaceful end. Only a few days later, however, the government prepares another mission. This time, they want to recover the machines from the power plant so they can reverse engineer the technology and uncover its secrets. Before returning home, Mark says goodbye to General Orland and Fran. Sorry, now recovering from everything she has endured, surprises him by thanking him in English. With one final farewell, Mark boards a plane and heads back to Virginia, leaving behind the nightmare that nearly changed the world forever. Even after destroying the Spectres, the ending leaves one disturbing question: if humans created these weapons once, what's stopping someone from building them again? Instead of destroying the technology, the government wants to recover it and unlock its secrets. That final twist reminds us that sometimes the most dangerous monsters aren't the ones we fight, they're the ones we choose to create. Would you trust humanity with that kind of power?